So I've been thinking a lot about the new Avatar series and how it shows that the fandom is still divided after all these years. And before you go, upcoming author, what do you know about Avatar? Oh, you think the Avatar is your ally, but you merely adopted the fandom. I was born into it, molded into it. I didn't see Rava until I was already a man. You don't know me! I was there, sneaking around, trying to watch season 1 because my parents had some weird feelings about anime. They didn't think it was for kids, so I wasn't allowed to watch the TV show. But it was me. I got my entire family to sit down and watch the show. And then we sat there and watched Siege of the North parts 1 and 2 together. We stood there in line for hours at the movie theater because there was no assigned seating then. We were there opening night waiting for the live action. There is no Avatar: The Last Airbender live action movie. My sister and I watched the week-long event for the finale where they gave us a new single episode every day. We screamed when Katara stopped the rain. We teared up at the final Acne Kai. There are over 1,000 books in my Kindle, and the first freaking 3 are Avatar: The Search Part 2 and 3, because I want to know what happened to Zuko's mom. You didn't write fan fiction after season 1 of Legend of Korra because they never explained to us how Aang died, and you had an idea in your head. And that fan fiction talked about the idea of an evil Avatar before they even announced season 2. I was there when Nickelodeon played games for season 2 and 3 and put it on that crappy website of theirs. And every Saturday, I watched it crash because it couldn't handle the fandom actually wanting to watch the TV show. I was a Korra apologist before all the Korra haters started making a career off of hating that little prodigy. You must be new here, because one of my earliest videos was about Avatar Kyoshi's book and how Avatar Kuruk deserves justice. You are not reading the Yang Chen novel. You are not following one of the greatest Avatar channels on TikTok, Absolute Kyoshiism. You did not go to the highest tier and spend $215 of your own hard-earned money on the Avatar Legends role-playing game when it launched on Kickstarter. You were not a flying bison. You did not contribute to the $9 million they raised. You don't have the holo cover with Korra and Prime Rava on the front. You're not taking that fanfic you wrote in 2016. Dear God, that was almost 10 years ago. And using it as a baseline for your first script for your first time being a game master for a role-playing game, and tying it into season 2 with sprinkles of what's going on with the Red Lotus for season 3. And yes, to my sister who watches my videos, that was a slight spoiler for our campaign. You weren't there. You are not me. Come at me. Okay, so crash out aside, I think it's funny that the fandom is still split about Korra. Because the information about the next Avatar being humanity's destroyer, that conversation either becomes, wow, Korra really is the worst freaking Avatar ever. Or, damn, this proves that Korra is the strongest Avatar ever. What do I think? Oh, it's both. I have said this multiple times since The Legend of Korra ended. Personality-wise, she is the worst Avatar ever. Those losers at the White Lotus knew at the age of 3 she was arrogant and did nothing but puff her up instead of handling that arrogance. If you take a look at fake Avatar Yoon, who was named the Avatar before Kyoshi was, while Zhangju was a terrible human being, he at least had the world's best intentions in his head. And he worked hard to protect both Avatar Kuruk's and Avatar Yang Chen's legacy. But they didn't give a crap about Aang's legacy when Korra came along. The world moved on, and they just basically focused on how powerful she was at such a young age. So yeah, she spends basically every season bulldozing her way through every problem and getting her ass handed to her on multiple occasions. Don't get me wrong, you read the Kyoshi novels, Kyoshi gets her butt kicked quite a bit, and she only barely makes it out by Deus Ex Machina. But she eventually figured it out. Korra clearly did not. But the fact that she is powerful enough without her connection to her past lives and all the knowledge and power that comes with that to destroy and fix the world in one sitting, Korra haters, you need to shut up. You can't deny that feat of strength. Me personally, I like the twin idea, because as most of us are expecting, the long-lost twin is going to have Vaatu inside of them. And I get it, most people are generally upset about the addition of Rava and Vaatu in Legend of Korra. But with that argument, I have always taken it back to Tui and La in Season 1 of Last Airbender, and how they represent the push and pull of the ocean and the moon. And because of that, they are an example of yin and yang. And when you think about how the ocean and how the moon affects it with pushing and pulling, both can be used for good and bad. So I think we're going to see there's more to Rava and Vaatu besides just the embodiments of good and evil. Because when you really think about Rava and all the avatars, in the same way that Yang Chen neglected the spirits, and I haven't gotten there in the book yet, but Yang Chen suffers from DID. So sometimes her past lives take over her body, similar to the way of how the avatar state works, but not in the same way. Eventually, her companions do meet an evil avatar who had Rava's spirit. And in the same way how Kyoshi threatened a lot of people, Avatar Karuk killed spirits. Roku let genocide happen simply because he was a friend. And yes, and how Aang charged the White Lotus to basically become the secret service of the Avatar. And then of course how Korra lost her connection to her past lives, let a dictator rise, and open up a third spirit portal, while apparently also destroying the world. We will see, and we have seen, that having the spirit of Rava does not make you all good. So I would argue that having the spirit of Vaatu does not make you all evil. They tell and show us in that season where they introduce those two spirits that they exist inside of each other. While their balance has shifted more towards order or chaos, they still have specks of each other inside one another. Which is why Rava was able to be pulled out of Vaatu, even though Vaatu assumed she was gone. And since Nickelodeon seems to be apologizing to Brian and Michael, who created the Avatar series, for once again selling the live action rights to a company who does not actually want to stick to the source material, they're going to allow Brian and Michael to cook. And I believe we will see that element of the Avatar spirits really fleshed out in this next series. But anyways, what do you all think? Are you excited about the new Avatar series? What are your thoughts on Korra? What are your thoughts on Rava and Vaatu? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it through my crash out and you made it this far, go ahead and comment your favorite element so I know what nation you belong to. Other than that, I am upcoming author. Thank you for getting caught up in my favorite media with me. God saying the same, I will catch up with y'all later. Love y'all. Peace.